So I guess that's the end of our Guardians talk, which, of course, again, this is going to be the last time we're going to see a lot of these characters, a lot of these actors in these roles, and they might be heading on over to DC.
Do we say best Marvel trilogy? I'm kind of there. I think even if I was okay with Civil War, which I'm obviously not, we know this. It's a classic on the pod. Yep. I feel like you gotta just be like, because I think Civil War, like, it's not really a Cap movie. At least I'd argue that. Even if I liked it, it's more of an Avengers 2.5. So can you really call it a Cap movie? I get, there's a lot of storylines, but it's an Avengers movie. Come on. But, like, each one, I just felt like kept getting better and better. And it was the conclusion we kind of hoped for. And it landed.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. I mean, you can put it in the discussion for, like, greatest comic movie trilogies that we've had. I mean, I think, I kind of wrestled with that after both viewings, actually, kind of thinking about it as, like, I know how much I like Civil War, and that's where we're differing. We all know how great of a movie Winter Soldier is, and so, like, I kind of wrestle with it, like, it is up there. There might be a day where it's like, okay, you know what, I'm rolling with Guardians. Maybe it's a day where, like, I knock out the whole trilogy. It's like, you know what, it's Guardians. But then I might sit back one day and watch the whole Cap trilogy. He's like, nah, I'm going back over to my guy Cap. So it might just be one of those things where it's like, depending on the day, depending on which movie I watched recently, which trilogy I watched recently, it could be one or the other. But, like, this third one, it cemented itself as up there with that trilogy for me. And I think for a lot of people that it's probably their best MCU trilogy in their minds. I think for a lot, it's going to be up there at the top. And, I mean, we know the real best trilogy is probably the Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, we had a whole pod discussing that trilogy.
Well, I got to say, in terms of, like, just film trilogies in general, this is a rarity where the third film sticks to landing perfectly. You can kind of argue it's best in the series. Because, like, even the original Star Wars trilogy, like, Return of the Jedi is kind of, in a way, controversial and, somewhat lazy in how we have the second Death Star. It really was just a Luke and Vader story, because what do they do with Han and Leia? Well, they're in front of a door for like 40 minutes. But even Dark Knight Rises, it was kind of like, again, the death of Heath Ledger changed a lot of things, or kind of like put them in a kind of a weird situation. So, because I enjoyed Dark Knight Rises, but I would say, like, as the successor to Dark Knight, it doesn't get the job done. But I think here you gotta give James Gunn credit. He made a trilogy of 3 films that are all great. And even if you're not big on the second one like I am compared to the first, I think you can at least say or admit that, yeah, this one was definitely on par with the first, if not better.
Yeah. I kind of thinking about it, like Daredevil, and, like, season 1 knocked out the park. Season 2 is good, but not as good as the first one. Third one, on par with season 1. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to kind of view it on that same playing field as Daredevil, where, first and third one, awesome. Second one, not as great as those two, but, like, it's still good. It's better than a lot of sequels in the MCU than we've had. Dark World. Yeah, it's definitely up there, I think, now for sure. I mean, you got the Iron Man trilogy, you got the Thor. I mean, you can't even call it a trilogy anymore. But as far as, you can definitely make the argument. That's where I'll stand, is you can make the argument for Guardians being the best one. It's just, for me, it might depend on the day or which trilogy I'm watching. I could put on Guardians 1 right now. I was like, you know what? I'm locked in. That's the best trilogy. But I think there's a lot of others that are probably on the same playing field as you are. It's like, this is the best trilogy in this whole universe. Definitely, for sure.